Microphone check. 1 2 1 2. This is the Blaze the Lion podcast. I am your host, Blaze the Lion, Blaze Goldsmith. Indeed, indeed. This is episode. Brain don't fail me now. Episode 74. That sounds like it's right. So we're going with that. This is episode 74, and we're in the month of May. So for all of May, we're focused on mental health. This is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So mental health is so vast. It can be somewhat tricky. It can be touchy. It can anger folks. It can reveal certain things about people. Regardless, it is necessary. It is a topic that I felt was very necessary for us to have, for us to share. And over the course of these weeks, we've had different guests on to kick off the theme for mental health. We had Supernova Islam, who is a activist, born and raised vegan. He's an athlete, musician. He's a spiritual advisor, and so many more. And he was able to drop tons of gems on us. And then last week we had Stephanie Perez on, who is the GM, general manager at a Crunch facility. And she was able to share some personal stories regarding mental health and what she herself has gone through, what some of her clients in the gyms over the years, what they have gone through, and what some people tend to hide, how they mask how they're truly feeling. So tonight, I said, well, we need to get a maybe similar in some ways, but also a different perspective from someone who deals one on one with clients and someone who I'm sure has stories of her own from what she sees and how she's able to assess and to help. And we've put a negative label maybe on therapy, on a therapist. You're going to therapy or you have a counselor, or what does that all even mean? Isn't that for weird people? But in case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. And most of us are weird. Most of us are different, right? If you're blending in, who really wants to blend in anymore, right? Your power isn't being different. But in any case, with all that said, all month of May, we're focusing on mental health. And tonight, for episode 74, we have someone here who I have known, hmm, I'd say over a decade,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. This is someone that I've seen in the fitness arenas, the fitness avenues, from the run club, Blaze Run Club, where we used to run 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons and all that. And this is someone who I've seen go for her goals and to keep pushing, and someone who is able to go through life's journey and to learn about herself, um, but continue to grow, to continue to walk in her purpose. And on the Blaze Alarm podcast, that's what we do. We highlight those who have found their purpose, who are walking in their purpose, who are actually making a difference in this world, for it is needed. It's definitely needed. Right now, if you're watching this episode 74, we are live right now on iSquad TV, and we are live on the Blaze Alarm podcast on YouTube. Indeed. So click that like button, like this episode. Also, subscribe to the channel. Indeed, indeed. So, for tonight, we have Madame Therapist herself, an expert in this field of mental health and also help, right? Indeed, indeed. So, without any further delay, we have Marsha Pierre. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was an incredible introduction.
I'm truly honored to have you on. For I feel that this is what we needed. We needed Marsha's perspective. This is what we've been waiting for. We needed we just needed realness, right? And I'm truly excited to dive in. But before we dive in, I always tell my guests, for those who may not know, share a little bit about who you are with the audience.
Sure. I am a licensed mental health counselor. I'm currently in the PhD program for marriage and family therapy, and I work in private practice.
Hmm. So right there, you said marriage. So people still get married, right? I
I
mean, that's still
believe
a thing.
so.
Mm.
Yeah, I still think, yeah, I guess it's a thing.
I thought that was like from the '90s. I didn't realize people still get married.
I agree with you.
Joking. No judgment. Yeah. So, all right. So, before we get into your job, let's get into how'd you get here. So, how did this whole journey start? Is this a goal of yours that you've always had, or did life happen and it kind of pushed you this way?
Yeah, it's interesting. Life did happen. So, about 12 years ago, I was living in Sacramento, California. I was a supervisor at a hospital there. And I realized that I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
Mm,
I had set these goals, which I hit those goals and realized none of this was making me happy. And the
mm,
goals at that time was like to make six figures, um, own my own condo. And once I achieved all those things, I was like, okay, this isn't enough. Like I wasn't being fulfilled. I just wasn't happy.
mm,
So due to circumstances, I was fired. So which was a blessing. And I then moved to Florida. And then that's when I started to find my purpose. And I did that by asking friends, family, like, what did they think that I was good at? And a lot of people started to tell me I was great at giving advice. And it was surprising to me. Um, so I was like, okay, well, maybe I do have a niche for it. Maybe I should just look into it and go into it. And I started off as life coaching.
okay.
And I did that for about maybe a year. I realized I needed more education and wanted to learn more about it. So I ended up getting my master's. And after my master's, I still felt like I needed more. So then I went for my PhD.
Mm, mm, yeah. Um, so along this journey, right, of education, um, because I see this all the time, not just in this industry, but in various industries. So in the fitness industry, as well, where you have the book knowledge, right, and you learn about the body, and you learn about the parts, and they give you the real life examples and all of this, right?
Hmm.
And you ace all these tests and such, and then you go out in the real world, right? And you have your first client, and they present you with their situation and their problem, and you're like, I don't know what the hell to do right now, right? But I'm gonna act like it, because
Right.
So how different or similar was the education from actually dealing with the clients?
It taught me a lot, and more so, it taught me about myself. Um, of course, getting the education helped me to listen for certain things and be able to help that client to process what they were going through. But more so, it was the education that I needed for myself and the things that I learned about myself.
Yeah. How are you able to heal others? How are you able to help others if you yourself haven't healed, right? If you haven't, like gone through the storm and actually been able to overcome and address certain things that we were actually carrying ourselves.
Right, right. The thing about healing, it's always an ongoing process. You're
Yeah.
you're healing and learning. So where you may feel like you've healed one thing, all of a sudden you're peeling off another layer. And I call it like the onion. You're just peeling off that layer and you're going in deeper and you're finding more things that you needed to heal from or you learned about yourself.
Hmm. Indeed. And I want to go back a little bit to what you said earlier when you said you had all these goals, right? To live it, to live in a certain place, to get to the mark of six figures and all these things. And many people feel, I don't know if it's our country or society or the entertainment or just how we were raised, but many people think that money can solve everything. And once you get to the bag, once you get to six figures, once you be, once you get to that certain mark, that all the problems just vanish. And I've seen this time and time again, from millionaires to the the celebrities, to like so many people who have money, and money isn't their issue. um, but they realized that, just like that onion, there was just so much more that they had to uncover, and they just weren't happy. They thought that that thing or those goals, right, that we deem as successful would be the end all, or it would like solve so much things. And it was like, I didn't learn so much more that, damn, now I gotta go back to the drawing board and I gotta do all these other things. So yes, I've just seen that, as there's the same insect flying in my studio. Any case, yeah. So can you paint for us just that picture of when you're there saying to yourself, okay, well, on my vision board or on my goals, check, 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 but something's missing. There's more. Share
Right,
with
right. Um, I think it was definitely an upbringing, and I grew up in a Haitian household. And I was told you get education, you make money, and that's what you're supposed to do with your life. And I remember going back and I was sitting in my loft and I'm sitting upstairs and I'm looking at this place and I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. Like I did it. I accomplished. I've achieved all these things. And I was like, okay, I have a nice car, I have nice clothes, I have a great job. And there was like nothing. It was like none of this stuff filled me up. All these material things did not make me happy. And then that's when I started searching and asking myself, okay, what is it? What am I needing to do? Because I knew I should have been giving some type of service. I knew I should have been helping someone, helping people,
me. Hmm.
but I just didn't know what it was at that time.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel that money do you feel that the more opportunity, because more money usually brings more opportunity. You usually have opportunities that maybe those who aren't in those positions, they may not have. Do you feel that is it truly more money, more problems? In the words of Biggie and Diddy, is that part of the problem?
Yeah, that is definitely the problem. And I think I realized that too. The more money, the more problems I had. And it was like it was constantly flying out the window. Um, for
Mm,
me today, I look at money as energy.
yeah,
It's something that can be produced. It's something that you can literally like grab and just bring in. But of course, you have to be in that state of consciousness in order to do that or even understand what that means.
yeah. Indeed, indeed. Money, and where so many people have so many different views on money, and it could be your upbringing, it could be like your religion, it could be just your own internal beliefs, right? But money is definitely a energy. If you feel like you can't attain money, you're
Then you
right.
won't.
You can't attain it, if you
Right.
feel like money is easy and money flows and you may lose money but you're able to attract that money back, you're right. So yeah, it's just so crazy how we are taught education, uh make money and go get married, and you and it's like those things can bring so many other issues. It's
Right.
so
And no one prepares you for that. No one prepares you for any of those things.
mm-mm.
They're like, no, just do it. It's going to be great. Just do it. It's like, no,
Just do it.
it's not.
Yeah, like you learn as you go. Like
Right.
everything isn't made for that. Some things you kind of got to be a little more cautious too. All right, so now take us in a day in the life of Marsha Pierre. All right, so dealing with clients and just hearing some of these stories. Is there one particular client or couple that stands out that just has such a interesting, maybe negative or positive story?
Um, okay. Well,
She's
of
dying.
course,
Which one? Which one?
of course, like when you're an intern, you're going through the process, you have to then work in community centers. So that could be a bit of a challenge because you're actually working with clients that may be resistant. So these could be court order clients. These could be clients that actually need services and they're at a facility in order to get those services, but they're not really there for like the mental health. So the one particular client, the community mental health place that I was working at, she was kicked out of the program and she was very upset about this. So she ended up finding my number online and calling me like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning and not saying anything, but pretty much stalking me. So suddenly it stopped and I realized it stopped only because she got arrested. So
Mm.
yeah. But that's not the norm. So I
What are you
don't
doing to
want
these patients, Marsha?
I don't want, future therapists out there to think that their clients are going to stalk them. So it's not the norm.
Mm.
But I've had clients where I've had couples, they'll argue in the middle of the session, one will storm out,
Mm.
things like that, which is kind of normal.
So what do you do in that case? So you're in the middle of a session and then you have one of the partners like, screw this. I'm done. This is a waste of time. Nah, 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 nah.
Honestly, there's nothing you can do. You got to let them go, because chasing them might, uh, what's the word?
I put
It
your life in danger.
It could, but then it's also basically telling them the behavior is okay, you
Mm,
know. So it's like you don't want to reinforce that behavior. So you just kind of let them go and be like, all right, well, I'll see you next week.
mm, yeah. Hmm. Have you because I've done therapy and I haven't necessarily done couple therapy. Well, hmm, I've I guess you could say I've done some couple therapy, but it was not me and my partner like at the same time. It was like we were going to the same place
Hmm.
and I had my therapist and then she had her therapist. Um, and
Did
that
you
kind of
guys
went,
ever meet together?
no,
Oh, okay.
no. And it obviously like it didn't work uh, for various reasons. I mean, I was lying as well, like to the therapist. So I already wasn't really being transparent. But enough about me. Um, yeah. So, has that ever happened where you're having sessions with couples, and maybe one partner was really for let's get therapy, let's get someone to help us, and then they felt like maybe um, you were siding with the other partner, even if you weren't per se, but they may have felt like it wasn't going as they thought it would.
Yeah, that tends to happen all the time.
Mm,
So, the thing about couples therapy, I like to tell people if you're in a relationship, start doing therapy ahead of time. Because oftentimes when couples come in, it's already towards the end of the relationship or towards the end of the marriage. And now they're wanting to save what they have left. And it's
yeah,
always that one partner who's all for it, but the other partner is like, no, I've already checked out, so it's a difficult dynamic.
yeah,
As a therapist, you try to do your best to get both of them to be on the same page or at least understand what's happening in the situation.
yeah.
But again, it's usually towards the end of the relationship, so it tends to not work out very well.
Hmm, yeah. So we are curious here on the Blazer Line podcast. So that's without giving us all the tools on your tool belt, right? Um, can we dig a little bit deeper? Um, are you able to share with us maybe a tip or a exercise or an activity that you do like in one of your sessions?
Um, So my therapy style is a bit different from other therapists. So I
Okay.
consider myself an emotional coach, and I kind of dive into the emotions of a person. So in order to do that, I'll use videos, I'll use
Videos.
worksheets. Yeah, videos of like educational videos to kind of
Oh,
trigger.
not like
Uh,
cheating videos.
no,
Oh,
no,
okay. Okay, cool.
we could talk about that and why that happens, but no, I don't show cheating videos. But it then helps the client to understand. Like if it was something like anxiety, so showing them a video on anxiety would help them understand that one, they're not alone.
Hmm.
They may be able to see some of the things that they're experiencing, and then it kind of helps them to then deal with their anxiety a little bit better.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, it's if if you were to even think about social media, right? When you go to your Facebook or your Instagram or your TikTok or whatever, is videos help, right? Videos help to paint that clearer picture. Um, so I can definitely see. Hmm. Okay. Have you? How? I guess the question would be how much are you by the book, or are you open to kind of a free spirit? Meaning, have all the sessions been in a facility? Have there been any times where you all have been out of the facility and had like a session outdoors, or tried to, I don't know, just something like out of the box?
Yeah, I mean, I've done kind of like a walking therapy. So if I'm at where I used to work at a treatment facility, substance abuse. So a lot of the times the clients didn't want to really stay in the office. So we would walk to the park or walk around the building. So yeah, I would definitely do things like that with them.
Okay. Yeah. I would like that. I would like to talk with a therapist and do like some walking lunges and do like some burpees while I'm expressing, myself. I think that would be most effective. But hey, mhm.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah. All right. So with couple therapy and with dealing with couples, and as you said that one of the problems is that a lot of couples try to seek help towards the end, right? Where one of the partners, or maybe both, are really not as invested as they were, like in the beginning or in the middle of the actual relationship. So, what would you say is the common theme, or the common themes, or the common problems that you hear? What seems to be like the culprit of why a lot of these relationships are failing, or are going through problems and issues and stuff?
Typically, well, the usual. So sometimes it's infidelity. Sometimes it's the couple has been together for a long time and they may have outgrew each other. Um, or you might have couples that one partner, their behavior is a bit erratic and the other partner is tired of dealing with the
Mhm.
toxicity of it.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Have you ever dealt with any couples where the challenges or the problems that they were sharing with you just seemed strange? Seemed a little different. Like it wasn't the the infidelity. It wasn't trust, or the miscommunication, or like anything like that. It was like something weird because you watch TV and social media, and sometimes you see couples fighting, and it's just strange. It's just like weird problems that you don't really see a lot. Um, because I feel that many of us are weird, and we try to label, right, our problems, and put the labels that everyone else uses. Oh, is we didn't work out because we grew apart, or whatever. But is that really the reason? Mhm. Like, for instance, um, my parents, and I'm about to tell my parents, just give you guys a little bit. And one time for my mom and my pops. Okay. And I love you all very much. All right. With that said, I remember things like my mom was very, very neat. She liked her home in a particular order, right? A particular smell and all of that. And my pops was maybe the opposite, right? He just kind of live life on the edge, right? Um, and things like my mom cleaning his ashtrays would cause like a big argument,
Hmm.
right? So I'm like, was it truly the ashtrays, or really was it something deeper? So I don't know. Have you heard any stories of like
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
it's never about the ashtray.
yeah,
It's always deeper.
yeah.
It, I think what happens over time with couples, it's important for to accept the partner, and that could be difficult, especially when, as you mentioned, your mom was very orderly, and cleaning the house was very important to her.
Hmm.
So having her husband to then leave things behind, yeah, that could grow tension over time.
Hmm. Yeah. Indeed, indeed. Um, so, how can we help with how our world is right now and with all that's going on? Um, how can we, as a community, how can we partner with you? How can we partner with counselors, with therapists, with coaches? Like, what part do we play? Like, how can we help?
Um, I think it's important to just talk about it. I know now it's like more people are coming out, more people are seeking therapy. The pandemic definitely caused that, and so many people are like seeking therapy. Like my the group practice that I'm at, they've seen a substantial, sorry, influx of people coming in seeking therapy. Like it's literally jumped. And I think the messages and what a lot of people don't understand is we hear anxiety, but not everyone understands what that means.
Mm,
And as humans, animals too, we all have anxiety because it's a biological response. It's our fight or flight response. So, um, what people don't understand is that anxiety plays a role into all the things that we do, our patterns of behaviors, the way that we communicate, the way that we react to things. So, for example, well, let me just preference this and go back.
okay.
The fight or flight response is basically our adrenaline moving, getting ready for an actual physical threat outside of us. So, we live in Florida, we have panthers, okay? So if there was a panther in front of us, we would either get ready to either fight or get ready to run or possibly even freeze because that's a response too.
Right.
But when it's psychological, it's all happening in our minds, and the body has all this energy and doesn't know what to do with it. So that energy then sits here in the shoulders, in the chest, and people will feel it in various parts of their body, or it'll interrupt their functioning. So people talk about how they can't sleep at night. And that's because their mind is constantly running.
Yeah.
And that is part of the anxiety, And for some, it can um, it can intensify, turning into anger or rage. For others, where some people suppress it, and then it turns into depression. But it's still energy.
Hmm.
So oftentimes I tell people, like, especially when they're dealing with that, to move around, to do certain things just to get that energy out of their body versus allowing it to just sit in there.
Mm. I have heard that. I have heard um, when you have, especially dealing with like depression and such, that it's best to not stay still or to be in the house. Usually, it's best to leave. I mean, unless you're gonna do something crazy, right? But it's best to go outside and be, and and see nature, the parks or the beach, or just drive around and just to get out the house. Plus the fact that in some cases with depression, that could lead to people inflicting harm right like on themselves. So it's like, all right, let us get out the house.
Right.
And so, hmm, yeah. Is there a certain place that you hear a lot from clients that, and this can be good or bad, but is there one location or a few locations that you hear often that persons use, whether as a crutch or they use like to get away, or they use um, like as their therapy?
What do you mean by use it as a crutch?
So for some people, it may be when they feel the anxiety or they feel the anger, or the depression, that they may go to the bar, and that may be like the go-to. Or for some, it may be the beach, or maybe church or something like. I don't know. Is there like a common like location that you hear a lot?
Probably not so much a location, but people will try to use alcohol,
Mhm.
drugs to kind of ease their anxiety, or like putting it into work or putting into
Yeah,
other things that might possibly be productive, but could still be harmful for them, their bodies, actually.
yeah. Trying to stay busy so you don't deal with exactly what you. Yeah, makes sense. I think I've been a victim of that too. Yeah, I think I've been guilty of that, where sometimes it's uncomfortable, but that's part of healing, right? To be uncomfortable, but many times you don't want to be uncomfortable. So it's like, all right, let me go focus on this money, or let me go focus on the job or whatever else, and just stay busy. And then you realize that when it's time to sleep, that you can't sleep because you got all this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's surprising to me how people don't want to deal with their emotions, and they prefer what I call just to be on. And that's just like to keep going, don't have time to think about it, don't have time to feel it. Let's just keep it moving. Eventually it catches up with the person.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point, right? Yeah, I mean it has to. And the way how life is set up, sometimes when it does catch up, it's not convenient. It's like, ah,
Right. But catching up could also look like someone who has chest pain and they run to the emergency room only
yeah.
to find out that they had a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's affecting their body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important. Mental health is so important. And I don't understand. People just don't, they don't want to go see a therapist.
Yeah. I know for men, some may think that it's a sign of weakness to go see a therapist, to go seek help. They're like, oh, I got this. I don't want to shed my emotions. I don't want to tell a stranger, right, the things that I'm really battling with. And many times, as men, we don't even realize what we are battling with, because we have, over the years, we have fought it, and we have like suppressed it and hid it to the point that maybe we even hide it from ourselves. So it may take a therapist, it may take a counselor to actually uncover, like, hey, Timmy, you've been holding on to this since you were a child. And because you haven't dealt with it, it stayed with you and it's grown into this or into that. So, whew.
Yeah, with men, I tend to see anger issues. And that's a lot of the trauma, the emotions that they haven't dealt with. And then it just explodes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll see it as depression, where then they can't, they're not functioning, they're not getting out of bed, they're not going to work. And I guess it's a society thing. I don't know if it's more of a American thing where it's like men aren't supposed to show emotions. And
Mm-hmm.
my question is, then why do men have tear ducts? They're supposed to cry. It's okay to cry
Mm-hmm.
and let those emotions out. It doesn't make them weak.
Yeah, it's not an American thing because Caribbean men are also taught
That is true.
don't show emotion, right? You are the head of household or whatever, and you just provide and don't deal with the issues. You just provide. Hmm.
Yeah. And then it goes back to why the relationships aren't working out.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if their only job is to provide, what happens to the emotional intimacy, what that partner, the other partner needs?
And yet, see, you hit it right on the head. And what men will do too is because we're not happy and because we're not dealing with our emotions and the issues at hand, we use sex as our therapy, thinking that it's helping, but it's not really helping. So we start cheating on our spouse or on our girlfriends or like on our mates, because I guess that is like a belief system. I'm not really sure where that comes from, but I I I I realized that from young, from in my 20s, that in my head it made sense. Like, okay, well, you're not happy in this relationship. Don't end it though. Don't don't end it because she's a good woman. Don't end it, but just release that frustration on other chicks, and you'll feel better. And you start doing that, and then guess what? You realize you don't feel better.
What's interesting, it's how can I explain this? It's a phenomenon among humans. So when the two-party relationship becomes unstable, then that tension has to be released by bringing a third party in. So the third party could be an outside relationship, or the third party could be bringing in their children to ease the tension, or work, or just something outside that pulls them away from that partner. And that's all that it really is. It's just not managing the anxiety between the two people in the relationship.
Yeah, yeah. And then what tends to happen is, we aren't happy in our current relationship, and then we see this third party, right? And the grass looks so green over there. So we go over there and we start a whole thing over there. And then that one ends up failing too because we haven't dealt with, you know,
Right.
learned that the hard way a couple times.
But that's how the pattern continues,
Yeah,
because it's the person is just not dealing with their emotions, and
yeah.
they think a new person is just going to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have heard ladies tell me, um, and show me that I'm not doing my job, that I I don't make them happy, that I am not solving their problems, and I'm like, that's not my job though.
Right.
Cuz if that job is unfair, cuz I'll never be able to, no one will ever be able to heal you.
Yeah, happiness comes from within, and
Hmm.
happiness is work.
Hmm.
So, for those who are like, "Oh, I'm so unhappy," find things that you enjoy. Find things that raises that vibration, and then continue to do it, because happiness takes work. It's constantly talking to yourself in a positive way. It's doing things that you absolutely love in order to continue to have that euphoric feeling of happiness.
Hmm. Yeah. Have you ever been um what's the word? Have you ever been I can't think of the word. Have a brain fart here. Has anyone ever told you fix me? Have they ever come to you like, all right, well, you're the expert, right? So here's all my stress, here's all my problems. Now fix it.
I wish someone. No, no one ever wants to come to me to be like, help me, fix me.
Hmm.
What's interesting, it's like, being that I'm the therapist and I'm the caregiver, I'm always wanting to help other people. So it's like, but you can do this so much better. And they're like, no, 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 I don't need your help. So that's what I tend to get.
Mm. Hmm.
So it's a lot of people in
Interesting.
denial.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever gotten people saying, Marsha, fix him or
Yeah,
fix her? Yeah.
yeah. I've definitely seen that among my clients.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I ain't doing anything wrong. It's them. They're the
Right.
crazy one. Like they don't appreciate me and they yeah.
Right. And I tell, and my response is, it's two people in the relationship.
Yep. Yeah. Indeed. Huh. Marsha, do you know what time it is?
Let me guess. Color time?
Woo! Color time. Color time. I swear that my guests deep down they actually know what time it is, but I'm not sure if they're scared to actually say it. In any case, yes, it is color time. So you know how this goes already, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even gotta say anything. See? She did her homework. She's ready. All right, we're gonna get into some random colors, and my guest will share what these colors mean to her. So, from a counselor's perspective, let's see. Let's see where her mind is. Indeed, indeed. All right, let's start. First color. And again, as I always say, those in the chat, feel free to give me some colors so we can make this more exciting for our featured guests. Indeed. I know, right? Yeah. Like somebody been doing their homework here. All right. So, color number one, let's get right to it. Charcoal.
Charcoal. The only thing I could think of is something you ingest after you've taken poison.
Hmm. Okay. I've never got that answer before. Okay.
It's from my medical background.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
Mm-mm.
No.
I
Okay.
can't think of the substance, but I know you're supposed to take charcoal after. Maybe it was bleach or something. Maybe. I don't know. Look, Google that.
Hmm. Okay. I think about frying on the grill. I think about brushing your teeth with charcoal. Everything.
That's where my mind went.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Color number two. Let's go with barbecue. um, Let's go with navy blue.
What I have on. My favorite color.
Hey, there we go. Why did you choose navy blue tonight?
I don't know. It spoke to me. And
Mm.
that's why I wore it. What does it mean to you?
When it spoke to you,
Hmm.
what did it say?
That I should definitely get this jacket and wear navy blue tonight.
And what was the tone that it said it to you in?
It was more like a picture in my mind.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't like, wear me, damn it. No.
Not so strong.
Oh, okay.
Maybe in a whisper.
Mm. Like, wear me.
Yeah, that's it.
You know you want to.
Hmm.
Okay, I got you. I got you. All right. What are we on? Color number 3? Color number 3. Huh. I like this one. Let's do it with this. Watermelon red. And you can't say watermelon.
Mm. Watermelon red. All I can think is a watermelon. I don't know. I heard that red is a good way to attract. So red is a good color for attraction.
What are you trying to attract?
That's for the viewers out there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Would watermelon red be a color that you would wear?
Probably not. No.
No. When I think of watermelon, I also think of pink. I think more so of pink than actually red, but it is red. Hmm.
A
Okay.
good watermelon. It's nice and red in the middle.
Yes. Yes. Now you got me craving watermelon. All right. Next color. This is number 4, I think, right? Color number 4. Uh, let's go with what's that color? What's that color? I can't think of the color. Um, blonde.
My new do. My
It was a specific kind of blonde that I was thinking of, but I can't. I don't know, but it left me. So, in any case, blonde. Oh, just your hair? Oh, I'm sorry.
just my
Oh,
hair.
that was the
Yeah,
answer.
that was the
Gotcha.
answer.
I thought that was the question you were asking me. Ah, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, your hair. Hmm. I don't think I've ever said this color. Let's go ahead. Cocoa
Cocoa
brown.
brown. Oh man. The first thing I thought of was what my grandmother used to make is a Haitian chocolate, and that's what I thought of when Cocoa Brown came up.
So share more about this.
She oh my, it's like a whole bunch of ingredients. I don't know it all, but she gets actual like the actual chocolate and then like um grades it down and then boils it and adds like I think it's carnation milk. I mean, it's so good.
Mm, okay.
Reminds
It's
me of Christmas.
okay. Okay. I guess Giselle's grandmother as well.
Hmm.
Hmm. All I remember my grandmother making was garlic tea.
Didn't have garlic tea. I had like a it's a green. It's not no red onion tea. That's
Red
great.
onion tea.
Yeah, I'll have to
I've
give you that tip.
I've never heard of that.
Hmm.
Is that supposed to taste good or is that for like healing properties or
It's
home
healing.
remedies? Okay.
You pour onion, you put lemon on top, you let it sit overnight, and then it makes a juice. And then you boil the water and you pour it in. Oh my God, it's amazing. It'll cure anything.
Mm. Mm. Red onion.
Hmm.
Mm.
I'll send it
Okay.
to you.
Okay. I would try. Why not? Okay. Let's go with one more question. I mean, one more color rather. Uh, hmm. Let's go with milky white.
I keep thinking of like fruit stuff. Carnation, not carnation milk. What is that? Condensed milk? That's what I
Mm-hmm.
thought of.
Mm-hmm. Back in the day, they used to put that in everything.
Yeah, they did.
They would take the healthiest things and it was so good. And they're like, "Oh, it's so healthy." And then as you grow up, and um, you realize like, is it really that healthy because of all the other stuff that they add to it?
There's a lot of sugar in there. I
Yeah,
don't suggest it.
yeah, yeah. Indeed, indeed. But I guess as kids, that was how we were able to drink it. Right.
Right.
I guess the actual raw of it. Yeah, right out the can. I remember that too. We used
Hmm.
to take the little the uh the can opener and just do the sides, and it would like slowly drift out.
Hmm.
Right. Those are the days, and I can't even have that stuff anymore. I would probably throw up. In any case, all right. Well, this completes color time. Pretty good. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, that was fun. Took
Too
me
crazy.
back.
So okay. Indeed, indeed. What is something from your childhood? Let's get a little deep now. Just a little bit, maybe. What's a memory from your childhood that stays with you today?
Huh.
Hmm.
Well, I guess the first thing that came to mind as a kid, we always went to Busch Gardens in Virginia. So that was always a favorite spot for me to go to.
Hmm. Is there a specific memory regarding Busch Gardens that kind of comes to mind?
Hmm, the Whitewater Rapids.
Yes. Yes. Indeed. It was as a kid, it was something about getting wet. Where now when I go to those theme parks, I ain't really trying to get wet like that. Like, and I got stuff to do. But
Hmm.
but as a kid, it's like, and we get wet. Oh.
Right, right.
Like that was a bonus. Like, oh yeah. Huh. Indeed. Now going back to childhood, is there a childhood memory or a lesson or anything that maybe you were taught from a parent or a grandparent? Is there anything from your childhood that in your practice, right? That in your daily work that helps you, as you're helping um clients. So is it like a value or a belief or a saying or anything?
Probably not from my childhood, but
Okay.
one of the sayings, I believe Oprah had said this, was we teach people how to treat us.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm teaching clients about setting boundaries, and that's one of the sayings I always bring up, because in order to enforce a boundary, you have to then teach that person. And if you wasn't setting boundaries before, then the relationship was the way that it is because you taught the person how to then treat you.
Whew. Hard lesson right there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've seen that so many times and I've experienced that as well. And then you get to the point where you're like, you know what? I'm tired of them treating me this certain way. And you don't realize that they've been treating you that way for so long and you haven't said anything, even if it hurt you or it caused you anger or grief or whatever every time, but you allowed it. So
Right.
now when you're trying to put the smack down, they're looking at you like, yeah.
Yeah. But
Mm,
it's always it's a process that you have to continue to say and do.
yeah.
It could be difficult because the other person, they're used to doing what they were doing before.
Mm-hmm. 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 Indeed. For someone listening, maybe it could be they're dealing with some challenges in their marriage, um, like in a relationship. Maybe they're dealing with challenges just on their own. What would you say? Um, Basically, what I'm asking is, what advice or what tips would you give to someone to do or to start doing on a regular basis?
Well, I definitely encourage everyone to get a therapist. So that can happen in many ways. There's community centers that offer maybe free services or discounted services.
Okay.
Um, most people's insurance companies covers mental health, but that's like a separate branch. So if they call their insurance company and ask them, they could get that information. And then there's so many like platforms now that offer mental health. So in relationships, it's difficult. Relationships are hard. You
Hmm.
know, you're operating with two people, and one person wants one thing, the other person wants another thing, and it's hard to get into the middle. You know, so having a therapist there to kind of sort that all out is the
Mm-hmm.
best way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And
Indeed. Hmm.
at least use a third party in the right sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is the average duration, the length of time that partners or that couples usually use a therapist?
It depends. Um, for couples that's coming in, like I said before, at the end of their relationship, they may not last long. It might be one or two, maybe three sessions.
Mm,
For some couples who understand the importance of having a therapist and want maintenance, then those couples tend to stay in therapy a little bit longer. So maybe like 6 months or even possibly a year. You know, they might
okay.
check in like once a month, kind of
That's what
thing.
I was gonna ask you. Like for a maintenance program, like how often would they see you? So you said like once a month?
Hmm.
Okay. Huh. Hmm. You don't really hear about that much, right? As you mentioned, you really just hear about seeking therapy when things are on the rocks, or seeking therapy where now they want to make that leap from the boyfriend and girlfriend to now get married. I'm like, okay, well, let's. So you see that where they may go and see a counselor or so, for like a few sessions, and then that's it. And then yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Another good time to see a therapist is life changing events like having a baby, getting married, having a loved
Having a
one pass away.
baby, that's a good, yeah.
Yeah. Because having a baby, that's extremely stressful. Both
Yes.
parents are going through a lot and need someone to talk to other than the child.
Yes.
So,
Yes. We do talk to the child too. We'll go vent to the child like as a little baby.
exactly.
Hmm. So you have a question here in the chat. How do you know which kind of therapist to choose?
Well, I think the therapist works whoever you resonate with. So, if you're going to therapy for the first time, you may have to go to different therapists until you find one that you like.
Mm,
And then that might only be for a certain period of time. So you might get what you need from one therapist and then move on to the other. So it doesn't mean that you have to stay with the same person forever.
mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that if you feel like you don't connect with that person, you could, move on to the next. So the person you have to do what's comfortable for you.
Yeah, yeah. um, where are the or what are the best ways to find therapy to find a therapist? To some, it may seem like very overwhelming, and they're not really sure, like where to start. Would they? Do you suggest going on social media and putting in hashtag therapist or hashtag coach, or do you go online on a search or?
Yeah, it's better to search. Psychology Today is a good source to go to look up therapists in the area. It'll tell you the types of therapy, how much they charge. It has all that information.
Okay, okay. I would assume that maybe even like some websites or like some networks, um, and then like insurance companies and such would kind of have a list of
Hmm.
like the different types,
Yep, they
and
would
you can
too.
check it out. Hmm. Let's see. As a therapist yourself, as a counselor, have you ever gotten therapy?
I have. It is important for the therapist to have their own therapist. I mean, we go through our human stuff too.
So like trainers need trainers.
Exactly.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. You like have my wheels turning as someone who I've had therapy as well. I've had, I think, maybe like three different therapists over the years, like for different reasons. And I will admit, the first therapist that I had, I was in my 20s, and I had I know this is hard to believe, eh? But I had anger issues. Like,
That is hard to believe. Yeah.
yeah, like who would have thought I would have anger
I'd have
issues?
never thought that.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. But in my 20s, in my mid to late 20s, I had some pretty serious anger issues. So I would attend therapy every Monday. And in my head, I used to say, "This is stupid. This is dumb. Why am I seeing a therapist? This will never work." Um, but I think what kind of, and I didn't do it for that long, honestly. I may have gotten like 6 sessions. Um, But in my head, I'm like, this is silly. This guy can't help me. He doesn't look like me. He doesn't, like understand what I've gone through, blah, blah, blah. But I will tell you this, even though I would go there every week and roll my eyes and say, this is not effective, um, at the end of those 6 weeks, something changed. I
Mhm.
couldn't tell you what, right? But I will say that the the out the outbursts, the anger outbursts I was having was a lot less. So that's when I knew. I said, I gotta give it up for these therapists, because just imagine how so many people would probably go to therapy and in their head be like, yeah, this ain't gonna work, or. And it's like, wouldn't that only help you to be transparent with the therapist, right? Wouldn't that only help you to actually share how you're truly feeling, right? They're not there for you to lie and for them to zone in and then to realize that you're lying and try and find this truth or the answer. But wouldn't it be more helpful to yourself to actually be real with therapists? But I would wonder, have you ever experienced that where you could either tell that this person was not being honest,
Mhm.
or maybe like towards the end you were like, I could actually, I really could have helped them if they were.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, clients lie all the time, you
Yeah,
know? So,
yeah,
because it, that means they have to be vulnerable, and
that
therapy is,
part.
is very intimate. So, it's scary for some people. And yeah, I know when my client hasn't done their work, and I'm just looking at them like, yep, okay.
So do you tell them? Do you tell them, or do you just kind of keep it inside? Like,
It depends. I might let it go for a couple of sessions, and
okay.
then I might start to ask them like, okay, when are we going to start working here? Like what's
Mm,
happening?
yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Indeed, indeed. So with all we've said a lot of like the negative, but do you have a like a testimonial? Is there like a success story where you've seen the growth in a couple or like in the individual?
Yeah, yeah. The benefit of being in private practice is that I'm getting clients that are non-resistant, so they're ready to do the work. And
Okay.
because I'm a believer of law of attraction, I put the intention that I only want clients that are ready to heal.
Mm.
So pretty much all of my clients, I'll see that growth in them, that what I call emotional
Say that
maturity.
again.
Right.
Say that again. Ooh.
Which
Because you believe in the law of attraction.
I put the intention out there to only attract clients that are ready to heal.
Wow. Hmm.
And that's truly what I get. So I have a very happy clientele. And then I'm happy too because I could
Yeah.
see their progress.
Hmm. You said that so casually, but that was powerful. That was powerful to set the intention, and believe and basically manifest, right? Like to attract what you want. Hmm. So if Marsha can do that, right, and attract the type of clientele that she wants, what's stopping you? Hmm. Hmm. To someone listening right now, and they are highly intrigued by your words of wisdom, they are very much so drawn to your energy. Is there a way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, they could reach out on Instagram, Facebook. It's Marsha Pierre Inc. Next month, I'm actually doing a workshop on healing from toxic relationships.
Mm,
So I will be putting that out. It starts January 4th. I believe that's the Saturday. Yep, it's on the 4th.
okay. On January, you said?
June 4th, sorry.
So you got people waiting like 6 months, 7 months? June. Okay. June 4th. All right. And what's the name of that again?
Healing from toxic relationships.
Mm, I
So
think
they
many of us can use that.
Yeah. So the 4 weeks will include building your self worth, um, unlearning unhealthy behaviors, and like such as negative self talk, and also where the toxicity came from. So it might be from their families or just their upbringing that allowed them to then attract those relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Very interesting. And if they wanted to book that, they would go where again?
Um, they can go to my Facebook or Instagram. I will be putting out the flyer out soon.
Okay. Okay. All right. So stay tuned for that. It's not in January. It's in June. First
Starting June
Saturday
4th.
in June, right?
Yes.
And it's called How to Heal from Toxic Relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Shoot, I might have to sign up. But damn, so. Okay. I can dig it. I can dig it. Marsha, I want to thank you so much for your time, for your experiences, for your expertise, for your energy. Indeed, indeed, for blessing us here on the Blaze Line podcast. Um, this right here was episode 74. So the replay will be available on YouTube momentarily. As soon as we end this live broadcast, you can go watch that replay right now on YouTube. Also, the audio only versions will be available for streaming on most of your major streaming platforms. So, your Google Podcast, your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, your Breaker, all those. And that will be available tomorrow. For those who want to put this in your car and just kind of ride out and just kind of heal a little bit. And yeah, and get ready for this new upcoming uh, course that Marsha has, How to Heal from Toxic Relationships, and that's coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed, I love it. I love it. In in closing, is there anything that you'd like to leave our audience with, for those who may be listening?
Don't be afraid of therapy. Just do it. It'll be the best investment that you've ever done.
Hmm, there you have it. Don't be afraid of therapy. You can be afraid of other things, but not therapy. Not therapy. No, no, no. You could just change your life. It could just be what you need, what you've been needing all this time. You've been looking for answers in all these other places, and answers probably not at the bar. In
This
some
is true.
cases, the answer might not be in church. Not bashing church or bashing religion or bashing God, never that. But there are some toxic people at church too.
Hmm.
So the answer may not be there either. Could be at a therapist. Could be getting some counseling and really uncovering what's going on, peeling back the layers of that onion as we heal, as we grow, as we mature. Indeed, indeed. I love it. I love it. Marsha, again, we want to thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing this time in the midst of these playoffs. For all you basketball lovers out there, the Miami Heat and or whatever teams you are going for. So thank you all for still tuning in. And again, if you missed it, we got the replay, the video on YouTube, as well as the audio on streaming platforms. Indeed, indeed. Huh. This was episode 74 of the Blaze the Lion podcast. As we always say, the two most powerful components, peace and love. Good night.
Good night.